voices rose, they shattered the night. In the shadows where they play their game, they point their fingers, shifting the blame. A woman stands with fire in her eyes. They built a web of twisted lies. Karen fights, she won't back down. Truth will rise in this crooked town. The world will see what they tried to hide. Justice burns, she won't be denied. From the judge's bench to the badger's shield, they tried to break her, tried to make her yield. But voices rose, they shattered the night. The truth ignited a blazing light. Karen fights, she won't back down. Truth will rise in this crooked town. The world will see what they tried to hide. Justice burns, she won't be denied.
I'm coming.
Turtle boy lit the spark, the flame. Exposed the players, called out the names. 2 trials deep, but she won't fall. Her spirit's stronger, she'll outlast them all. Karen fights, she won't back down. Truth will rise in this crooked town. The world will see what they tried to hide. Justice
1, 2, 3, Bobby Long Beach.
burns, she won't be denied. In the shadows where they play their game, they point their fingers, shifting the blame. A woman stands with fire in her eyes. They built a web of twisted lies. Karen fights, she won't back down. Truth will rise in this crooked town. The world will see what they tried to hide. Justice burns, she won't be denied. From the judge's bench to the badger's shield, they tried to break her, tried to make her yield. But voices rose, they shattered the night. The truth ignited a blazing light. Karen fights, she won't back down. Truth will rise in this crooked town. The world will see what they tried to hide. Justice burns, she won't be denied. Turtle boy lit the spark, the flame. Exposed the players, called out the names. 2 trials deep, but she won't fall. Her spirit's stronger, she'll outlast them all. Karen fights, she won't back down. Truth will rise in this crooked town. The world will see what they tried to hide. Justice burns, she won't be denied.
Hey guys, I am Sam. Welcome to the, I almost said morning mayhem show, to the evening legal show. I didn't do a show this morning, and I was just kind of looking around. There's a lot of stuff on Karen Reed and Mac from Surviving Together and Law Ninja had been wanting. I had been wanting her to come on, and we had been wanting to do like a legal show and just kind of see how that goes. I mean, it doesn't have to go good or bad. Like, even if it went bad, I would say we would do one every day if we could, if we had the time to do it. And it would only be bad because I'm a nut job. But there's a lot of corruption being exposed. Obviously, there's a lot of corruption being exposed in the Karen Reed trial, in the first trial. But there's a couple of things that are happening that I want to share with you guys if you haven't seen it, and it's pretty hilarious. So I'm gonna bring Mac on. Hopefully this works. Hey.
Hey. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm
rested?
Good. I am. I had a great power nap.
I love those.
I was so confused when I woke up. I was just like, I was still sitting like this on the couch.
Yeah, I do it all the time. But it's usually like I have 2 minutes to pick up Paisley from school. Like, whoa. and it's always like her and her teacher standing out in the grass by themselves. And I just like, oh my God, I hate that. I hate that.
Yep.
How was your holiday weekend?
It's good. It's good. We just kind of got ready for the live today and had our live, and that was absolutely fabulous. And yeah. Now it's about you going to be on Wednesday. So my next live is you.
Oh, wow, I'm glad we did this then today.
Yeah,
that's like a little bonus, almost like we planned it.
We try sometimes, right?
Yeah. No, but it is good to connect with someone before the show. You know what I mean? To get like a cadence vibe, I guess. Just I don't know, but we've done a live before together, but it's been a while. So you know what I mean? Just kind of get like a groove. I'm really looking forward to Wednesday's show.
I am too.
Really looking forward to it. There's a lot of things that I think are going to be like, oh wow, I didn't realize that not like prison like violent stuff, but I mean like stuff that you wouldn't think on the surface would be traumatic, and you don't think about it as it's when it's happening. You just don't think about it. But we'll save that. I don't want to ruin the show for Wednesday.
Yeah, we won't get it all out here now, but definitely join us at 6 p.m. Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so it'll be 4 p.m. your time, to see Sammy and we're going to be talking about his prison trauma and kind of how that surfaced for you afterwards, right? I mean, really realizing it as to what went on. So we'll be talking about that and just kind of his years afterwards, and it'll be great.
And we've had this show planned for like over a month. I mean, we planned it it's been a while. It's been a while, and I can't believe it's already here. Jen Marie says, I'm confused, Sam. Are we going to talk soon? Yes, we are going to talk tomorrow. I was hoping. It's Sunday. After church, I was going to get a hold of you to start putting together. I've already started gathering videos to watch, so I'm like more informed on the teen stuff. Was it you and I that talked about the teen? Remember we had like touched on it.
You were doing some program and you talked about it and just yeah, I don't know how it came up or whatever. And I suggested to you, I'm like, Jen's the person you need to get in touch with about this, because she's the one who knows it all. So.
Yeah. Sorry, Jen. It's I've basically have had my daughter by myself for the past 3 days, 4 days, and it's been a lot. So yeah, I haven't checked emails. I've just been like right now she's in the bathroom and she's washing her tubby mat that's inside the tub so she doesn't slip, and she's like in the middle of the bathroom floor scrubbing it, and there's water everywhere, there's soap everywhere, but it's like it's entertaining her right now.
And the bathroom will be clean.
And she even said that. She's like, Dad, and it's a bonus, I clean behind the toilet. I'm like, okay.
You're like, rock on.
Yeah.
That's what I'll be doing tomorrow, actually.
Yeah.
It sounds so funny. No, my parents, it's my dad's birthday tomorrow, so we're going to go over a little bit early, and I'm going to tackle their downstairs bathroom for them.
Cool. Blue Bio says GQ Sam. You know, it's funny you say that because this is like a very GQ. It's even got some like maroon in this, and this is the reason why I bought this cardigan. It's got like this cool maroon stripe along the buttons, and whenever I wear it, people always say, "Oh, like whoa, GQ!" I'm like, what? And if I have like my hair, you know, like in curls, like ding, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, GQ Sam.
Sam's
yeah, you were in a prison gang? Are you sure you were in a prison gang? Yeah. Okay, GQ awesome, Jen. Thanks. What's that?
GQ prison style.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all my pictures from like my sailing pictures and my pictures from when I worked at Microsoft, like my hair's real curly. I have like big wide ties on, like those Banana Republic ties, chinos, penny loafers in some of the pictures, which is wow. What the hell was going on then?
Did you keep pennies in them, or did you switch over to like dimes when?
No, I never put anything.
Phone calls went up.
Yeah, people would give me shit too. They'd be like, "You need to put pennies in those." I'm like, "What?" I mean, I get it. They're penny loafers, and I get it. People put pennies in them. I remember all the Catholic schoolgirls when I was in high school. A lot of them lived on my street for some reason, and they all wore penny loafers with their school uniforms, and they all had pennies and stuff in them. I remember
people switched over to dimes because the cost of the payphones, when we still had payphones places, the cost of the payphone things went up. So you always at least had an out for your evening. You know, you always had a way to get home.
Yeah, that's I remember dropping a dime in a payphone.
Remember, it was still a nickel.
Yeah.
Has anyone out there used a payphone?
Right. I think a lot of our community has, but it's funny to say that. I don't think John Lazan probably has ever used a payphone.
I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know who
probably even ever seen a phone booth.
Yeah, whenever I see an old one, it's always just destroyed with graffiti on it and like wires sticking out of the main cord.
Yeah, it's attached to absolutely nothing.
Yeah, attached to nothing at all. I was gonna say something else, and I forgot.
John said he busted one, so he hasn't actually used it.
Yeah, but that was in jail. That doesn't count.
Yeah, that's not like a phone booth. That's just like the phone on the wall.
Yeah. I have used a Blue Bias. I've used a payphone. Yep. I'm not that old. Okay. I mean, they might still be around. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, like, in some odd places, maybe, I don't know. What am I talking about? And then calling cards. Remember the long distance calling cards?
Oh my gosh. Do you remember when using the internet was like dial-up was long distance? It was a long distance charge.
Yes. And,
I had no
then
clue.
AOL, yeah, that was all bad. And AOL, I think it was either AOL or CompuServe. One of those had said, well, we're gonna. That's when they started saying we're gonna charge you a higher monthly or a monthly, and we'll give you an 800 number to dial up in. Or they would have different dial-ups in like zones of the country. That's right. I remember that. So if you lived in Montana, your dial-up number would be different than if you lived in Texas. It wouldn't be the same number. That way it wouldn't be as much or as long of distance for everyone to call.
I just remember I knew nothing about the internet. I was not into any of it. I just decided to try it or whatever. And my dad had already been using it a little bit, for work or things like that. And I got into chat rooms and things. And I would just chat away with people with no clue it was a long distance phone call until my dad came the next month and was like, why is my long distance bill $350 or something like that? And back then, that's a lot of money. And I was like, I look at it. I have no idea. What do you mean? And he's just like, have you been using the computer? I'm like, yeah.
Yep. And I remember a lot of companies having to get refunds because a lot of things weren't worded correctly, about charges. That's why you see everything's detailed to the max now. You might not understand it, but it's there and it's labeled as some, like extra fees and charges and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Good luck trying to cancel your AOL.
Yeah.
Remember that? You'd still be getting charged. You're like, I've made 14 phone calls.
I'm like that with Adobe right now. I cannot cancel my Adobe account. I've tried. I've turned off the card that it's attached to, and it still will just shoot at it. And every once in a while I'll forget and I'll put some money in that account and blam, it's gone. They must just shoot at that thing all the time. And I've sent them emails and it's crazy. I really don't know what to do. And I'm 1000% tech savvy enough to know that, well, I haven't called them per se. I called like an automated number, but I haven't spoke to anyone yet. I think when I finally speak to someone, but they do that on purpose, to.
Yeah. That's why they make it so difficult to actually speak with somebody. If it's a bank account, you can go into your bank and tell them, do not take an automatic draft from this company.
Yeah.
You can shut it off there.
Yeah. I tried to do it on the app, on the Wells Fargo app, and it I don't know. I can't remember what it said. I think it said I did it, but then they sent me an email like, no, you need to get a hold of Adobe or something like that. But I think you're right. If I do actually go physically in, they'll be able to do something from within there.
Go into a branch or something.
Yeah. Hold on. What's up, babe? Okay, honey. Okay. Do you need help? I'll be done. Okay. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Okay, no problems. Do what you need to do.
Okay. She goes, my bath's hot, but kind of cold.
Okay. That's when you swish it around.
Yeah. That's how it all started. She's like, hey, can you run me a bath? I'm like, absolutely. And then I went in there 2 minutes later and she had the mats out and soap and she was scrubbing. I was like, oh my God, this is not going to work.
Do you remember getting in a bath as a kid and it being like, it's too hot, but you're too stupid to actually get out?
Yeah.
Your ankles are just on fire.
Yeah. I totally remember that.
You're like, I'll just stand here. It'll be cool enough in a minute, and then you sit down, your ass is on fire. Like, why did I just get out and wait?
I remember taking baths with my kid brother when we were young,
mm-hmm.
and just like fighting. Him and I would just fight in the bathtub,
There's
and I
not that
can't remember.
much room.
Yeah. Yeah, and we were poor, so yeah, there was no my older kid, or like the baby brothers, they got the upper middle class mom and dad, because they had finally like succeeded in whatever they were doing at back then. And when I would go visit, and they were in high school, my baby brother, I was like, man, you got it made, man. We were moving all the time. We would go from apartment to trailer to apartment to beat up apartment to kind of a nice apartment.
You never had to use your mom's bath water?
Yeah, no, I never had to do that. I had used my brother's bath water though, visiting my grandparents in Tennessee in the 70s. But it was like a literal, like a trough type thing.
Oh my goodness.
They had an outhouse until I was 7. And that was crazy. Yeah. We would have to go stay with them for 3 weeks every summer. And yeah, it was nuts, man. It was nuts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I only had Girl Scout camp back then. We still had outhouses and stuff. I remember that. God forbid you couldn't find your flashlight in the middle of the night.
I would have held it.
I'm serious. You guys could have just gone out back, behind your cabin or your tent or whatever. Not quite as an option for us.
I just thought of a story where I had actually pooped my pants. I won't tell the story though.
Probably a good thing.
Well, because I was speaking of holding it. Well, I mean, I've already said pooped my pants, so I might as well just tell it real fast.
Bo's telling his own story about it, so
yeah. I just dropped a deuce in the bath once. And started the solo bath phase.
One way to get it, I guess.
It was I had to be home by the time the streetlights came off. I feel like I just told this story to someone, or it might have been on here. But no, I've never told that on here. I had to be home, and I was really far from home. And I remember riding my bike and trying to hurry home, and I had to, of course, use the restroom, and I just did, and I don't know if it was out of fear of getting home late, or I don't know what it was, but I pooped my pants, and my mom and dad were driving around the neighborhood looking for us, or for me. And they found me, and dad put my bike in the back, and I got in the car, and of course they smelled it, like right away. They're like, "Did you poop your pants?" I was like, "Yeah."
Oh my goodness.
And I was probably like 6 or 7.
I wasn't how old you were.
Yeah, I was like 6 or 7. I wasn't like a baby, or like a real little kid, but
still, you were pretty young.
That was in Delaware, Ohio. That happened. Flintwood Drive was the name of the street. You never forget the street where you pooped your pants.
I remember the road of every house that we lived on. I don't necessarily remember the numbers of them anymore, but yeah, I remember the roads.
Oh, Texas X really messed up that whole comment. It's good. Yeah. Well, let's get into it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I am not even ready, but I'm going to find I need to close a ton of tabs. I'm rescuing all crime. So the first video I want to watch with you and just to hear, get your reaction from it, is, so I had heard a video like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago of these two lawyers talking, and they were like, wow, that really looks like, and I think I even talked about it when I first heard it on the morning show, where Brennan looked up at the judge, and the judge shook her head like that. and then Brennan like changed his questioning or something. No, I'm sorry. Brennan shook his head at the judge, and then she like looked forward and didn't look at him anymore, like really fast, which was weird. And everyone was talking about that. Well, this week this happened, and I guess I better share a screen. Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a carrot out of my ass.
Because I could see the judge kind of shaking her head occasionally, especially if there's been a line of questioning that they're kind of already been going on, and the judge is just like, nope, don't go there. We've already discussed this type of thing. But
yeah, that's probably what it was. Here we go. Judge signals dirty. Okay. Let me just full screen. Hide the comment. There we go. It's only 8 minutes long, so we might as well just watch the whole thing.
Sure.
It's pretty good. Hopefully it's loud enough.
Special thanks to Olivia Lambo for pointing this out. Follow her on X. Let's set the stage. It's day 18 of the grueling case against Karen Reed. Judge Beverly Canoni, long accused of harboring a bias in favor of the prosecution, is eager to wrap up an excruciating day of cross-examination. On the stand is Commonwealth expert witness Shannon Burgess, who's just been exposed for lying about his educational credentials and misrepresenting his communications with lead prosecutor Hank Brennan. And Brennan himself has been hemorrhaging credibility for putting such a deeply flawed witness on the stand in the first place.
Were you notified within the last 72 hours that someone from the defense accessed your publicly available or viewed your publicly available LinkedIn account?
No, I was not aware.
This is almost certainly a lie. For his employer, Aperture Forensics, to remove that link, they must have been notified somehow that his educational background was of interest to the defense. That is information only he would know, as the holder of the account.
Are you?
I'm sorry, Mac. Did you see any of this when this week?
No. This is the second trial.
Yeah, this is this trial.
Okay.
This was just the other day. He was pretty much impeached as being a liar about his credentials. Had the a federal court and this court said that he had his bachelor's, didn't say he was working on it, or people just assumed that he was, or that he didn't correct people when they said that he did have his bachelor's. So this happened this week.
Aware that within the last 72 hours that hyperlink on Aperture's official website was disabled?
No, I was not aware.
Are you aware that now if you try to go on that link that you can't, that it's disabled?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Do you know whether anyone from Aperture directed someone within Aperture to disable your LinkedIn account within the last 72 hours?
No, I'm not.
Have you spoken to anybody at Aperture about your LinkedIn account?
No, I have not.
And at the end of his disastrous testimony, Aperture Forensics went a step further and added this watermark stating, not for expert designation to his biography on their website. Another reputation ruined for taking part in this fabricated case. Burgess is experiencing involuntary facial spasms under the extreme pressure.
If I did the math correctly, sir, you've been pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree for 17 years, correct?
That is correct.
His LinkedIn, his credentials. Anything on his credentials at all?
Idea about it's called fraudulent. It's fraudulent. It's a lie.
And you have not obtained it as you sit here today.
That is correct.
And yet there are the various documents that we've seen that state that you have obtained the Bachelor of Science, correct?
Again, with errors or misinterpretation. Yes.
Once Robert Alessi finishes dismantling the witness over his false claims about his credentials, he shifts focus to the larger issue at hand. He presses Shannon Burgess on the revisions made to his report, alterations that conveniently adjusted the Commonwealth's timeline midway through the trial. Although Hank Brennan previously claimed to be surprised by the updated report, no one seriously believes that. Alessi methodically uses the report's own language to demonstrate it was, in fact, revised at Brennan's direction.
You did delve into that, and pretty heavily, in your May 8th report, correct?
Correct.
And you delved into that pretty heavily in the middle of this trial, correct?
Correct.
So after the trial, do you know the trial started around April 22nd in this case? Generally?
Yes, generally.
So let's do the timeline on this. January 30th, 2025, you prepare your initial report, correct?
Correct.
In that initial report, you mentioned nothing about text stream event 1162.1, correct?
Correct.
In that report, you mentioned nothing about text stream event 1162.2, correct?
Correct.
The trial starts April 22nd, correct?
This is insane.
Generally.
No, the trial in this case, this trial about April 22nd, after the trial starts and after witnesses, of course, are appearing, you prepare another report, correct?
Correct.
And that's your May 8th report,
Correct.
right in the middle of this trial.
Correct.
I'm going to read the first line of your May 8th, 2025 report.
Okay.
Do you have it in front of you, sir?
I do. Yes.
It starts, Dear Mr. Brennan. You see that?
Yes, I do.
Pursuant to your request, that's the request you're referring to of Mr. Brennan, correct?
Correct.
I have completed an additional analysis concerning the above referenced matter. To formulate opinions, the following additional items were reviewed.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't done on your initiative. You put in writing you did it at the request of Mr. Brennan. Which is it?
So that was on my own initiative. This is a holdover, so a copy and paste from my original report.
At this point, we are approaching the end of the day in Judge Canoni's three-ring circus, but she saved her most disgraceful trick for last. Robert Alessi is zeroing in on the moment that matters most. After methodically laying the foundation, he's now ready to challenge the discredited witness on the centerpiece of his revised report. A brand new finding that conveniently alters a critical segment of the timeline, introduced halfway through the trial.
Mr. Burgess,
Yes.
I'm going to show you what are 2 pages out of the report of Mr. Whiffen that you referenced, and we've been discussing about pocket state.
Sure.
And this one here, if you just read this line, because it's the heading.
Canoni glances at her watch, clearly weighing whether it's close enough to the end of the day to call it, just as the cross-examination is about to strike a nerve.
And then the next page, and tell me, sir, with reference to this entry right here, if that refreshes your recollection with regard to.
She takes a deep sigh. Now, we will play through what she does next once, then break it down.
With regard to the phone of Mr. and whether it refreshes your recollection on any comments Mr. Whiffen made about pocket state.
Objection.
I'm going to see it side by for 2 minutes on this.
Okay.
I was going to rewind it. I forgot he did. This is crazy.
With regard
She glances at Brennan to see if he's looking in her direction.
to the phone of Mr.
She does it again, now realizing he can see her. She abruptly raises her arm to her face in a sharp, unnatural motion, making one of the most unmistakable signals imaginable. Then she locks eyes on Robert Alessi, like a trained hound pointing to its target, all with a bizarre grin on her face that gives it all away.
And whether it refreshes your recollection on any comments Mr. Whiffen made about pocket state.
Objection.
Brennan finally picks up her signal and states his objection, and she couldn't be more pleased. It's one of the strangest moments we've seen from this judge, as if the gravity of a woman fighting for her life means nothing. She's just been caught sending covert signals to the very prosecutor whose conduct should be under scrutiny, not aided by the bench. Whatever
Well,
her
I'll
reasoning,
let it play
this
out.
is unethical, inexcusable, and she should be removed for this infraction immediately.
I'm going to see you sidebar for 2 minutes on this. Okay.
Stops his line of questioning. It's nuts. I mean, go ahead.
Can you put the factual basis for me, since I'm not understanding what's going on? So what did he change in the timeline? What was the?
He let me think. I know. I can't remember exactly for sure. Let me I have a thing. A timeline thing. I just have to find it. I got what he did. Hold on real quick. And it might be one of these other videos. I can't read it from the tabs.
I mean, I'll say from my perspective, I don't know enough about her. Haven't seen enough of the trial to say as to whether, this was a signal or anything. But I got to say that grin afterwards and how her facial expressions, bizarre, absolutely bizarre.
Well, it was the people that made this, they were questioned about it on Duty Ron. It's another YouTube channel. And they said that they had their people look through hours and hours and hours, and she has never gone like this, to like scratch her cheek. I don't know. It looked really awkward and not natural, and the timing was just like perfect. And there's no way anyone could ever prove it for real, for sure. And I think that's why she's willing to do it. But there's multiple instances of this, and I can't find the other video of her doing it before. I wish I just would have downloaded it when I first seen it.
Well, obviously she knows something in regards to this, because the prosecution didn't even have to state the basis of their objection before she was like, yeah, I'll see you for sidebar for 2 minutes, please.
Yeah. Just 1 second. Read.
That wasn't me.
I know, honey. I know it wasn't you, babe. I wasn't mad at you. How was I mad at you?
I know your emotion. I've known you for like 7 years. Actually, no, 8.
Okay. You're 6.
But counting what the years in me and Mom's belly.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
She could hear you then.
And I know his emotion. I know when he's going to get mad. I know when he's going to yell at somebody. I know when he's going to do everything. I know when he's about to cry.
You got tells, Sammy. You got tells.
Yeah. Well, she knows how to make me cry.
Boho says, look how red this guy's face is. And that is the one thing that I could see, is you could just see the flush just like deepening in his face, even though the color contrast wasn't that great.
Yeah. And
his cheeks, his whole face, it just was like, you see the blood flowing. And
Brennan acted like that this was like new evidence, and he kind of like laid it on the defense last minute, because it was they reanalyzed the same evidence with different. I can't remember they called it like texturing or something, and something had changed. But in his report, he said that he took it upon himself to familiarize himself with the evidence, but also to retest it. But they caught that was a lie, because in the cover letter that they even sent the defense, it said, as per, Prosecutor Brennan's request, I did this, and this. But in testimony, he said that that's not what happened. So
At worst, he just made himself look incompetent, because he's like, oh, it was copy and paste, and I obviously didn't review my work.
Oh yeah, you caught that? Yeah.
What kind of evidence was this? Was it text messages or?
No, it was
Cell phone data.
I think the black box from the car. Yeah. It was,
like the GPS.
Yeah.
That reminds me. I still want to watch the new Minecraft movie on the Xbox.
Oh, we can do that tonight. What's that guy's name? Damn it.
He doesn't remember anything.
Thanks, honey.
Yeah.
Well, he is getting old.
He doesn't even remember my age sometimes.
No, I don't. I always remember your age.
You forget how old I am sometimes.
Huh?
Sometimes you forget how old I am.
I've never forgotten how old you are.
Yes, you were.
When? This is
You
gonna drive
always
me
ask
nuts.
me how old I am.
Robin Bliss says it was clarifying the time lag between the car's black box and the phone records.
Right, because there was like a minute off or something like that, or.
Ow.
But that's normal, I guess.
Is it okay if I'm in here?
Well, I can't find it. It was an actual like a graph where it said the different. I just need his name. I'm looking for his name because his name was on it. So now I'm looking through the transcript.
The chat is concerned that the water is still running in the bathroom.
Is it?
No. That's just the thing.
Thank you. No, I mean it's happened. It's happened. Yeah.
No, I've left my bath. I've left
Shannon
the
Burgess.
the bathtub on like for so long that there was like an inch left before it before it overflowed. And I couldn't even splash or else the water would like go out.
Oopsie.
Oops-a-daisical like a low.
I'm actually in my mom's little jacket right now.
It's so cute. Robin said it changed the time of the incident by 20 seconds, which is really important in this case.
I can only see my little friend, Mr. Pickle.
Yes, it is. But but he's trying to say, and I guess others too, that is the standard. It's within the standard difference, that's allowable, I guess. Of course, I can't think of the word.
This is in terms of like when she was there. I apologize, guys. Sam and I threw this together a little bit, and I didn't have time to review the testimony from this week. So I'm sorry that I'm coming across extremely ignorant as to what's going on right now.
Pickle, and this is cool.
Honey, watch. Excuse me, babe.
I could put my little knee right here and sit on your hand.
Okay, we're gonna watch this little thing. I mean, why not? Right? It's Saturday night.
Yeah. Saturday night. We both have nothing to do.
I have 2 more days off.
I know.
Do I? Or is it?
In his own slide occurs 20 seconds after the end of the text stream event 11:62:2, correct?
Of the unadjusted clock, yes.
You describe what you believe Mr. DeSogra is doing with regard to comparing, based upon this chart, the 11:62:2 text stream event of Dr. Welcher with the lock event on Mr. O'Keefe's phone.
Sure. So he's trying to adjust the clock from the Lexus to the Mr. O'Keefe's iPhone clock, but he does that inaccurately.
All right, some interesting testimony from one expert about 2 other experts in this case. And we're all talking about this trigger event, which we all are presuming to be the collision when Karen Reed puts the car in reverse and when, according to prosecutors, she allegedly strikes John O'Keefe. Take a look at this chart, because I just want you to visualize this with these 3 experts who were discussed today. You have Shannon Burgess. He was the one who testified. He's talking about a text stream event. He says it's between 12:32:04 and 12:32:12 a.m. A man who works with him, Dr. Judson Welcher, calls it an infotainment trigger event. And in his report, it was 12:31:38 a.m. Then we have a defense expert, Matthew DeSogra, but we don't know the times yet. All we heard is that Shannon Burgess said that he did it wrong. He got the math wrong, but we don't know what those times are. So what's going on here? Let's bring back in our insiders, Joseph Krasky Jr., Kevin Lenahan, Karen.
Have a good one, John.
Who's leaving?
John.
Oh, okay.
Who's on?
No, it's not funny, honey.
I try to look for.
I don't need the mouse snip right now.
So I'll ask for anybody in the chat while
Thank you.
Sam's queuing up his thing. So does anybody know why this 20 seconds would be such a huge deal in terms of when she supposedly hit some, this triggering event? Because I thought, I'd only seen like the first week of trial. I thought that it would have been like a half an hour or something like that, or more, based on when she supposedly either backed into him or when she hit and broke her taillight in the garage, which was much later, I had thought. Well, thank you, Kim. Yeah, Chris Malazewski is absolutely wonderful. He's got a great organization, wonderful head on his shoulders. I'm going to actually be speaking to him a little bit more on Tuesday about some things to do with our channel. Don says too much evidence which doesn't verify that he was by his SUV.
Oh my gosh. I need some water.
Oh, it doesn't verify he was hit by the SUV. Oh, so they're comparing. I understand. So they're comparing a triggering event from the SUV with with some time on John's cell phone as to when something happened with his cell phone. When it got moved or something that John's iPhone was saying. So having those times coincide is really important. I've got what I'm saying.
And I can't remember when his last lock of the phone. I don't know if this is it.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Is that yes for me, Shell? Did I finally get it right?
Okay, we're going to watch this first.
What are the key timestamps for prosecutors? This digital evidence with timestamps saying exactly what time certain things are happening. Well, what are the key ones for prosecutors here? Back with me to help answer this question, John DePietro, host and creator of Road Patrol Live, and Karen Reed supporter Kim Whalen, also known as Nurse Kim on YouTube and TikTok. Okay, I want to put this graphic up on the screen because I think it kind of gives us the big picture on some of these timestamps for prosecutors in their case. Let's take a look. What's in white is the evidence coming from John O'Keefe's cell phone. What is in yellow is the so-called text stream data coming from the Lexus, Karen Reed's SUV. So these times we're going to talk about these times. Some will be from the car, that's in yellow, others from the phone, that is in white. Let's begin with the 3 flights that are climbed. The start of this health event, Apple Health event, 12/22/14, ending at 12/24/37. That's coming from John O'Keefe's phone. Kim, this is such a big deal, this Apple Health data and the way it fits into this timestamp. What are your thoughts about the significance here?
Yeah, Vinny, I think that the 3 flights of stairs are 3 flights of stairs. I do not believe that it was a phone, especially an iPhone, going up and down over a not hilly hill of Cedar Crest or Fairview Road. And it is, in my opinion, stairs. Where are stairs? Not in a vehicle. And where was the location in which John?
Did you know about that, Mac?
What?
About the phone going up and down stairs?
I had heard the information that they had some information that the evidence that the phone had gone up and down stairs, which I mean, just as a layperson, just looking at the hill, it does not seem like it would be significant enough for an iPhone to say,
the phone knows
down 3 flights of stairs.
Yeah. And to go up and down, it's crazy. But anyways, I mean, I'm biased because I already believe that she's innocent. Like I'm not even willing to listen to any.
John and Karen were headed really? 34 Fairview. So in my opinion, there was movement by Officer John O'Keefe at that time.
Now, John, I want to talk about the 3-point turn. This is coming from the text stream data and from the cell phone. But what's interesting, right, is that they are out of sync. They're not in sync when you look at the raw data. From your perspective, what do you think the significance of this event, the 3-point turn, and the fact that the times don't line up between the cell phone and the text stream data from the car?
Well, Vinny, we've learned that not all clocks match up, and John O'Keefe's phone didn't match up with Karen Reed's, Lexus as far as that clock. And a lot of times they use an example. Maybe your microwave oven clock doesn't match up exactly. Military, they used to say, let's all synchronize our watches. I think this was huge for the defense when it just didn't seem to match up. But I think, and I give credit, Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan, I think that the expert witness, I think he did a pretty good job matching that up at the 3-point turn. And then when you see the two of them together, I found it was very easy for the jury to follow, because in that, diagram, in the presentation, you're seeing that it's Karen Reed is the Lexus time, and then John O'Keefe, he's actually the iPhone. It's incredible how they match it up perfectly.
You know, Kim, what's interesting when they're floating, or what was the word? Clock drifting the time, they drift it forward. They drift the car forward to match it up. But if you had drifted the cell phone backwards, you get a completely different timeline. What are your thoughts about the fact that the times don't line up and that now they do line up?
Yeah, I find it awfully convenient, Vinny, that now there is a change. And it has always been to make timelines work in this case, whether it is a timeline that is made from witnesses and now timelines that are corroborated by experts and only in new reports. So the time drift seems to be a very convenient new finding.
Let's get to the next one, the backing up maneuver. And we've got that at 12:31:43. This is in yellow, so it's coming from the Lexus. John DePietro, this is the big one, right? This is the big one. This is the one indicating as close to the time of the alleged murder as prosecutors have.
Well, I'll say again, we'll wait to see how the Reed defense will combat it. But as far as the prosecution, if you're trying to make an argument that she backed up and then that's when the event happened, and then you have this sync up with the phone, I thought that was very compelling testimony in the courtroom. And again, with the way they do the map, it almost looks like a video game. Like it's so easy to follow. I think this is a big problem for the defense.
And Kim, as we go back to that timeline, the next thing I want to talk about is the 36 steps, right? So we've got that and a window of time for that. But on the initial graph, before you drift the clock, the 36 steps are happening after the vehicle is backed up, right? So if the clock is not drifted, then it doesn't work. It just doesn't work because he's walking after Karen Reed has finished backing up her SUV.
Yeah, Vinny, that is, again, a convenient new truth. And I also want to just remind us that at 12:32, we have this alleged collision occur, right? This is when the accident would have happened based upon what? A 3-point turn 8 minutes prior, not from the Lexus tech stream data, because there was nothing indicated in Karen's actual vehicle that was recovered by Mass State Police or any expert. But we also have the large elephant in the room, Vinny, that Karen Reed was connected back to One Meadows Wi-Fi at 12:36. And that time frame doesn't add up, that she could have struck Officer John O'Keefe and made it back to the house in that amount of time.
Yeah, that's one problem here, isn't it? Potentially for prosecutors, John, if you're shifting the stuff forward, it looks better on the screen this way, but if you're shifting everything forward, now all of a sudden there's less time for Karen Reed to get from 34 Fairview to One Meadows.
Well, again, I believe, first of all, very light traffic on the road. We have to imagine that she was very angry. So if you go the exact speed limit, then maybe it's a problem. But if you travel and someone's angry and maybe a little bit of the, pedal to the metal, start to go 40, 45, even 50, you can make it within the window, especially the element of light traffic that time of night.
Light traffic, but some weather. Right, Kim? There was some weather that night. I mean, that's one of the biggest parts of this story.
Absolutely, Vinny. And when you have to start changing or not going by other data like Waze that says it would be 6 minutes to get from 34 Fairview back to One Meadows, now we're making it a whole different set of circumstances that Karen Reed would need to engage in for her to get back there in 3.5 minutes. I just think sometimes the easiest answer is it doesn't fit.
And finally, I want to take a look at one more aspect of the timeline, which is the phone unlocking at 12:32:04, then the phone locking at 12:32:09. And John, for prosecutors, this is the last, I guess they would argue, proof of life of John O'Keefe from their perspective.
Yes. And I think, I think the prosecution, I was in court when they presented that, they feel pretty confident that it's a compelling story, that as her car backs up, then, within seconds, his phone stops moving and then there's no more activity on it. I think prosecution feels pretty good about the way that lines up.
All right, John DePietro, Road Patrol Live. Thank you so much. Kim Whalen's going to stick.
Sam, can you back it up to the timeline real quick? Just back it up a second or two. Just put it on the.
Yep.
Yeah, right there. So she ends, according to this, she ends the backup maneuver at 12:31, and yet after he's supposedly hit, he unlocks it with his face.
Right. And I think the prosecution is saying, yeah, maybe, he's dying. He tries to
call 911 or something. And
I guess, but that was my first instinct too, was like, but supposedly that the blow to the head, if we were to believe that the prosecution, it threw him back and then he hit his head, he would have been knocked out. I mean, of course we don't know for sure. Like just to say that is what happened. We can't say for sure if he was knocked out or not, but that blow to the head is what unalived him, So I mean, but there's, aside from this, there's just way too much, right? There's his face was all beat up. There was no bruises or cuts or abrasions in anywhere else on his body, but the back of his head and his face, which is, we've all seen, pretty vicious UFC fights or boxing matches where, it's exactly what it looks like. All those guys all box together, like at a real boxing gym, not just like, for fun.
Has the snowplow driver been on yet?
He has. I can't remember if I watched. Yeah, I think he has. Yes, I think he has. And same testimony, he didn't see nothing.
But that's the thing, is he didn't see anything until he went by at 3:30, because he said he first went by at like 1 o'clock or something like that, and there was nothing there. And at 3:30, there was something there.
Is that what he said? That at 3:30 he did see something?
That was what I remember from when they were covering his testimony from the first time, when they were doing synopsis as the beginning of this trial was. So that's why I was wondering if he testified again in this trial. Because to me, if that's what he testifies to, that kind of blows everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's a little water. Yeah. And I have another video right here of oh no, it closed with that other. Oh no, here it is. I haven't seen this yet, but it's in the thumbnail. It says, answering questions. He's a lawyer. His name's Larry Foreman. It says answering questions from his viewers, and one of the viewers wants to know why no one's talking about the vomit and that was inside, that was like in his pants, the blood and vomit.
Oh, interesting.
I'm gonna get that up.
My understanding, Jen, there was a basement in that house.
What's that?
Jen had asked earlier if there was a basement in 34 Fairview, and my understanding is yes, there was.
Yeah, Karen believes that because she's seen him go into the house, and I believe her that he went in the door that's like closest to the basement. None of the kids could see him in the other room. I had a layout of the house, from above, like an architectural layout. And yeah, he went through that door on the right and just went right downstairs, and that's where the fight happened. What's the Commonwealth? Are there certain stipulations that need to be met? That doesn't look like a good question. I want to get to the what's this one?
Many shenanigans in this court, we certainly have. But usually, again, it is limited to.
I like this guy. He's really cool.
Now, Mimi Lovegood Law asks, we've all seen many shenanigans in this court. We certainly have. But from what I understand, appellate courts review matters of the law and not the underlying facts. That is also correct. If she's convicted, meaning Karen Reed, of anything, what appellate issues have you seen that are likely to be taken by the circuit? That is a very, very thick legal question, and I will try to answer it thus. There are a myriad of law issues. Now, how strong are they is obviously going to be a question for the appellate courts. I have not been paying close enough attention as some people like Emily, Andrea, Melanie, 100% should have been excluded. He should not have testified due to his lack of credentials and lack of expertise. But short of him, was anything so egregious? I can't, nothing really comes to mind. That is a fascinating question, and it's extremely crucial. Last year, he was hit at 12:45 a.m. That is a fascinating question, and it's extremely crucial for this jury, you would think, to know this information. But unfortunately, in closing, the defense is extremely limited to what they can and cannot say. Now, obviously, the jury has already been tipped off that there's been a previous trial. However, there may still be some way to hint at the fact that some things have been changed. And you don't have to say, in the first trial, this happened, and today they said this. You can say it in a different way. Like previously, this witness has testified that 12:37 or whatever, and today or now they're saying 12:45. That's how you get around that. Excellent question. Dr. Matt Curley asks, you can access the word integrity an awful lot. I think Jackson would have scored huge if he asked him what the definition of
question.
Cancel your appearance. Is it because of your knowledge of the Karen Reed case is superficial? It's previously respected attorneys would publicly give their biased opinions on the case. Any case, not just this one. Gives me ambulance chaser vibes. So you have to understand, attorneys such as myself asks, can the defense ask Trooper Paul whether he agrees with the prosecution's new timeline and argument? Possibly. He will have to be alerted ahead of time to review the testimony, and as an expert witness, although expert is such a loaded term, out. Can the case be reopened and get that other DNA tested? Yes, 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 and yes. And even if
I think when ARCA comes on too, ARCA is going to be a big thing. You know, the company that the feds hired when they did their federal investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I think the jury's probably already seen enough for reasonable doubt. I think after ARCA is able to present their evidence, I think it's for sure. There's too much reasonable doubt. Even if they brought in, even if they brought in, 3 people that says that they seen her do it, I bet you there's just too much reasonable doubt. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm going to be really interested to see the defense's case in chief.
That's when it's going to get exciting. It really is, man. Because I'm guessing they're going to bring in Proctor. And the prosecution, I guess, is really, really close to being done. Like they'll be done this week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is like super fast than what everyone else was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I wish I could have found those videos of the other videos, which was the original idea for us coming on tonight, of Bev's little weird things that she does.
The different things that the judge has done in this trial.
Yeah. And aside from, letting certain things happen or not happen, because that could just be, the judge's style, like I'm not on the bandwagon of saying she's completely corrupt, but if I see more of these weird little things, stopping the momentum of testimony,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty big. Do you know what I mean? That's pretty big.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd be interested too if somebody has done any analysis and actually then presents like, here's some stuff from her from the first trial that she was doing, looks or, indications or stopping of testimony, and then also presenting some stuff from the second trial. And as we had spoken earlier, and I don't know the answer to this, is based on the judge's actions in the first trial, whether or not the defense ever moved to have her recused as the presiding judge in this current trial. Now, I don't know Massachusetts law. Perhaps there is, generally you are going to be tried in front of the same judge. They've got all the knowledge base and whatnot. So if you have a hung jury, but if you can prove absolute bias for the judge, then they would have to recuse her, or even actually an appearance of impropriety. My guess is that if the defense did not make such a motion, they didn't feel that they had enough that was going to be able to persuade the chief judge of the the circuit court there to actually remove them, and so they just decided not to waste their time with it.
Yeah, I think there was a motion like in the very beginning when they first refiled, and of course she said she wasn't going to recuse herself.
Right.
And then the chief judge heard it, and I think he came back pretty quickly. Hold on one second.
Mm-hmm.
She's going back to work.
No,
Yeah.
I DoorDash all the time.
I did hold on. I did see a cool video of they connected Brennan and the judge together, because they're saying like, oh, we don't know each other, and it was I gotta remember this. It was Bev's mom worked for like Brennan's mom or something like that. It was like they were like worked in the same cafeteria at a elementary school or something. I don't know if it was Brennan or if it was someone else, but it was from that same company that did that first video.
Well, if you spend any time practicing within a circuit court, you're going to know the judges, and like here we have our local bar association, and there's the prosecutor's office has their annual Christmas party, and there are people from the judiciary as well as defense who attend. So just because you know somebody is definitely not an indication of impropriety. Now, if they could put them at a luncheon together just by themselves, or with one other person, I think that would definitely be more of an indicator.
Yeah, it was, and that's, of course it's a small town, so, everyone probably knows everybody, and has been to like one or two events or a birthday party. I went to a birthday party with my sponsor's granddaughter, and there was like 7 people there I knew, and we were like, what? This is crazy. And it was really, really crazy. So yeah, there could always be those things, but I think they were suggesting that no, it was me too. If I don't have the video right up, I'm just gonna like blah, 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 if
well,
I could.
I'm the devil's advocate here because I know absolutely nothing about this trial.
Oh yeah, no, that's
a little
perfect.
bit that I've had.
I wouldn't want you to go, yeah, you're right, yeah. we would have 3 people in the chat right now.
And you already do.
Yeah, Sam, you're so right about that. You too, Mac. You're perfect.
Yes, Spike. Yes, Spike. I'm getting to
Yeah,
Spike.
That was one of my favorite little characters.
We're
We're gonna get him, Spike, right? We're gonna go get him, right?
Yeah. Wasn't it like from Tom and Jerry or something?
What's that?
Wasn't that from Tom and Jerry?
Yeah, or Bugs Bunny cartoons. Was there like the Bulldog and the Spike guy? Tom and Jerry.
Because there's the bulldog, because the bulldog always used to beat up on Tom.
Yeah. I really want to find this because it's pretty funny how they do it. How they put these two together. Protocol, general can tell the truth inside. No white tampering inside Fairview. Look the other way. John was in the house. Karen recase. Look the other way. Karen recase. 3D recreation of microdots. Oh yeah, these are good, man. Well, let's watch this one while I look for the judge one. They don't even really say. This just says 3D recreation by Microdots. Microdots is the YouTube channel, and they started this channel just to cover this case. So all their content is about. I did see they did do a couple of other things now, but it was formed.
Kim is correcting us. She said it was Sylvester, not Tom and Jerry.
Oh, it was Sylvester. Yep.
Sylvester and Tweety Bird. I knew it was Cat.
These guys are good, man. This was the first one I'd seen by them, actually. They just put together the whole bar thing, and when you see it through the eyes of how they narrate it, it's pretty telling. But here, I'm gonna play that while I look.
So the guy in the hoodie, who is?
Yeah, I should have been narrating that, actually. So the guy in the hoodie that was like trying to get John's attention, because that was John. That's Brian Higgins.
Okay.
He's the one that was texting Karen Reed back and forth, like, "What's up? Well, don't you like me?" Or whatever he was saying.
Right.
Because she had kissed him at John's house. And so like he was butthurt about the whole thing. And you see him, and look, I've been in this situation a million times where one of my bros, we're at the bar, we're drinking, one of my bros doesn't like someone else that's there. And he wants to go fight the dude so bad that now he's like wrestling around with us. And we're like, come on, man, just, forget about it. But we're playing, we're all wrestling around and, just trying to like keep him from going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't even count how many times that, and maybe I've been that dude too, like wanting to go fight, like, oh yeah, that dude bumped into me, you know, over by the payphone. I want to try that dude. I used to always say that. I want to try that dude. I want to try him out, you know, meaning like I want to fight him. He thinks he's tough, you know. And that's exactly what these fools were doing. It's a dude thing. That's what they were doing. Look, he's pointing at him and like pointing outside. Like, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Now we get into the real meat of this storm. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. where the snow can come down at the rate of 2 to 4 inches per hour. From 6 to midnight, it's kind of winding down, moderate and light, finally ending around midnight. But there'll still be some accumulation. So let me show you Boston, Worcester, Hyannis, Beverly, Lawrence, Taunton. What kind of snow we're on.
I don't know what this is. Oh, this is at the house. So the kids were in the kitchen drinking that night. Oh, Higgins Craig. Dude, how is this not? It just drives me crazy. Now, after watching that, and then as soon as Higgins gets there, he's like, John, you coming here? What's up? You know, dude's thinking like, yeah, we already had words if John heard him or not, you know? And then, and so he's like, you coming here? What's up? You know, he's trying to fight, you know? And, yeah, if John knew or didn't know, John was like, yeah, I'm coming there, you know, let's do it. Or let's talk about it, squash it, whatever. But yeah, man, dude. Yeah, you wouldn't want to get 12
reenactment by a YouTube channel. This is not part of the evidence of trial or anything.
Yeah, no, it's a channel called Microdots. All their stuff
goes up the driveway.
I went to high school with
somebody named Caitlin.
I don't think they should have done that. I don't. I don't know what that is.
John, wake up. Come on, wake up.
Sarah's a nurse. She can save him.
John, can you hear me?
He's hurt really bad. He needs a hospital.
No.
Oh, they're like,
She's still waiting.
She's still here.
She's still here.
She's waiting for John.
What if she comes to the door from the door?
No one gets in.
Maybe she's calling the police.
This is just what they think would have been said, right?
That makes no sense.
Pick up the phone. Where are you?
I was always wondering why Jen kept going to the window, and if John had come in or whatever, right? But that's exactly it. She was like looking to see if old girl had left yet. I'm guessing. I don't
Is
know.
there testimony to that effect that you kept going to the window?
Oh yeah. Yep. And that she had texted John, but that might have been before John had come in. It might have been before 12:30 that she kept going looking to see if they were there. But she does testify that she was out there. Yeah, that she had seen the Lexus out there, but that he hadn't come in yet. That's what it was. Or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. But that does make more sense to me now. If I'm remembering it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
This one's called Bev's Got Your Back. It's pretty good though. I think this is the one that has the relationship.
That's contrasted, Your Honor, against the court regularly, apparently, ruling on motions that directly benefit the Commonwealth.
We were just talking about
the court immediately in the bench and granted 2 motions to quash subpoenas that favored Ryan Albert and Jennifer McKay. For those records, there was no delay. For that request, or a series of requests.
Hold on a second.
Please turn off your audio.
I didn't know if that was coming from that video or a different one. So that's why I paused it.
Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Best laid plans.
If you started paying attention to the Karen Reed case when the trial began, let me catch you up. The defense endured nearly 2 years of inexplicable delays and were prevented from examining crucial physical evidence by the Commonwealth. This was coupled with the court's refusal to assign deadlines, a set of circumstances once purportedly described by Karen Reed as a game of hide the football.
For the request that I just mentioned about the quashal motions, there was no delay by this court. The court made the rulings from the bench, and that made the public, in public commentary, question the court's motives. In fact, the court has unilaterally sought to even advance certain motions that the Commonwealth has presented. May I?
Try again.
If this seems more like a circus to you than a court of law, you are not alone. Judge Canoni's courtroom has been the center of controversy before. In fact, only 10 days prior, this happened.
Your service is complete. I'm declaring a mistrial.
The job is left unfinished. It leaves a really bad taste in your mouth, really bad feeling.
2 days after the murder trial of Weymouth Sergeant Michael Chesna and 77-year-old Vera Adams was declared a mistrial, we're hearing from Cindy Lavoie, who was the foreperson of that jury that could not reach a unanimous decision.
We don't want a mistrial. That was the number one thing.
Lavoie says when the jury first started their deliberations, there was an even split, but that eventually more jurors came to an agreement that Emmanuel Lopes was guilty. However, Lavoie says there was one juror who agreed with the defense's argument that Lopes was having a psychotic episode and was not legally responsible for the murders, and that the juror completely shut down and would not engage in any conversations.
When somebody just doesn't want to participate and doesn't want to show you the information, how they got to a certain conclusion, it was so frustrating.
Your service is complete. I'm declaring a mistrial.
Lavoie says it was gut-wrenching watching Sergeant Chestnut and Vera Adams' family react to the news in the courtroom. That uneasiness only continuing once the jury was loaded onto the bus to head home for the final time.
And on that bus ride home, no one said a word. We were all just in our own heads and just deflated.
Quoting Turtle Boy Daily News, a judge should never allow someone to disrespect their court like that. If this juror was too emotionally immature to handle a murder case without breaking down, then she should have been replaced. There were 2 more alternates available. Now, let's jump back to the motion to recuse.
The court has unilaterally sought to advance motions that have been advanced by the Commonwealth while still not ruling on motions that we've had before the bench for not just days or weeks, but now months. And it's the disparity in that treatment.
Alan Jackson is calling out the court on her apparent bias in taking months to rule on defense motions, and only ruling from the bench when it benefits the Commonwealth. This would be consistent with the idea that the state aims to bleed Karen Reid dry of funds in order to force a plea. Karen hails from a squarely middle-class family, and they have poured every resource they have into funding her defense because they know she's innocent. Each time worksman Jackson Quinn fly in from California to attend a hearing, the cost falls on Karen. She has assembled a top-notch legal team, including an audio-visual engineer and a 3D graphics expert. But quality defense doesn't come cheap. The Commonwealth is fully aware that every delay in the proceedings drains Karen's financial resources even further. Let us briefly jump ahead a few months in time, where attorney Elizabeth Little eloquently demonstrates the dirty tricks played by the Commonwealth.
Quote, the prosecution shall disclose to the defense and permit the defense to discover, inspect, and copy material and relevant tangible objects at or prior to the pretrial conference. Our first pretrial conference was on August 12, 2022. The compliance date for mandatory defense access to this physical evidence was more than a year ago. So when Mr. Lally stands up, as I believe he probably will, and says, we're almost done testing, the defense can have access to this in 30 days, I want to remind this court that we've been here before. In fact, we argued this exact same issue before the court 6 months ago. On February 8th of this year, Mr. Lally stood here in open court and made these promises. Quote, I did speak with the lab earlier this week, as well as last week, a couple of weeks ago, and on several different occasions. But my expectation from what I'm told is that their analysis and report should be complete within the next 30 to 60 days. Those were Mr. Lally's words in February. And my guess is that's what he's going to say today. But what is disturbing about those representations is that the crime lab actually keeps track of their communications with Mr. Lally. And when you review the crime lab conversation log, which was produced to us in discovery about a month ago, this is what you see. Quote, note to file, date January 3rd, 2023. Entry by John Buello. Person contacted, ADA Lally. Note, quote, emailed Commonwealth Prosecutor on 11/21/2022 about the status of testing. No response back. Therefore, the trace items will not be tested at this time. If for any reason testing is needed, the items can be resubmitted to the lab for potential analysis.
Wow.
Trace assignment closed, no report. And what you also see is that between January 3rd, 2023, which is the date of that entry, and the date the Massachusetts State Police Lab apparently closed this case, and February 8th, which is the date that Mr. Lally stood here in court and made those representations that he was so desperately trying to expedite testing, there is not a single record of communication between Mr. Lally and not allowed that's contained in that conversation log.
Wow.
That's not Mr. Lally's hands being tied by loud protocols and loud procedures. In fact, the assignment was closed because he failed to answer his emails. That is deception.
This was the exact moment I knew that Lally
At
wasn't
worst, it's
simply
deception. At
incompetent.
best, it's incompetence,
He was
right?
complicit.
Right.
Your Honor.
Well, and that's why he's not
So when the
prosecuting.
Commonwealth stands up and says that the defense can have access to the physical evidence in 30 or 60 days, that's not good enough. We need court intervention.
That intervention never came. This judge refused to impose deadlines on the Commonwealth, allowing them to stall for years in providing evidence that normally takes weeks. Now, let's jump back to the motion
Any
to
judge I
recuse.
know,
Look, I don't
there'd have been in contempt.
disregard the fact that the court is a very busy court, that the court is a supervising court. The court has a lot of balls in the air. It's the disparity between the court's rulings in terms of the Commonwealth's motions and the defense motions that I think give the public pause, and that's where we need to start our analysis. Number two, the court seems to have deviated from the normal course of procedure, in this case, in order to specifically stay on the Karen Reed case. And the court only made that known, or at least known to us, to the defense, after the Commonwealth filed a request to gag the defense. The optic is that the court had or has a personal interest in ruling on that particular gag motion, which is on calendar today, and wants to keep control over this case. That move has also prompted the public to raise questions about the court's fairness. Why is that happening? Why is that happening? Why is that happening? Why is that happening?
I am really struck by the judge's lack of deadlines.
Public confidence in the system,
Yeah.
at least insofar as this case is concerned.
Yeah, the deadlines is huge too.
Because
you see the corners of her mouth. I mean, and then I'm gonna show you one more video after this one. I found the one where the connection is, and it's huge. I forgot how big it was. It wasn't with Brennan.
There's no judge that I know of that's not going to set deadlines. I mean, they want their court to run. They need their court to move forward. And even if it's to say, if you tell me, hold on my earbud, if you tell me that, I'm going to give you 60 days, and if in 60 days this can't happen, then I need a report from the crime lab telling me why it did not happen, how much longer do you think it will be, and we'll revisit the situation at that time. You don't just go, oh, really? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
when you get to it.
Yeah. And you've seen what had happened with that crime lab, was that they didn't even start testing it.
Testing it.
They never heard back from him. And he said he was in direct communication and that should only be 30. That was a made up state. He lied as a member of the bar, as an officer of the court, to the judge.
Right. CYA. Oopsie. I forgot.
Yeah. And he's of course not in jail or anything, but he should at least got 30 days or something. I don't know. But, and like you just said, with the deadlines and the crime lab, I just seen a judge recently down in Texas. He's like, why are these lab results taking so long? Talking to the prosecutor, and he was like, oh, they're backed up. And he's like, I don't care. It's not any more backed up than they were a year before. It's actually less. We've given them less. The judge had done his homework. And he's like, well, you know what? I've already shopped around for 4 other, third-party places that are chomping at the bit to get our contract, and they can have it was for like a drug court or something, getting UAs back. And he said, and they'll be more than happy to do it at a lesser cost,
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. They don't F
They
around.
don't mess around. No, that's. I just want to address a couple of comments that the chat had, and I 100% agree with you. It was actually my first thought as well when they showed the judge when she granted that mistrial in that other case. People were saying she looks drunk or high. Either that or she is 100% exhausted and has had an hour of sleep within the last 2 days. She looks that really out of it and done, checked out. And so I can't say whether it's, because of lack of sleep or some substance, but she does not look all there.
Yeah. Yeah. She does get accused of being drunk all the time. Let's watch just a little bit more of this one, and then I'll play the grand finale one.
Which you actually would explain her lackadaisicalness in how she operates a courtroom, because I have seen that before, where there's been judges who have eventually been removed because of substance abuse or whatever. You just stop caring about things, right?
Yeah.
And so whether it's in or out of your courtroom.
Yeah. Everyone is saying that that there's no way, like, all these, lawyers, like real lawyers, like you and like all these other lawyers that have really been paying attention to this case, that that this is definitely her last trial. Like, there's no way she can work in Canada again. They're not going to do it during trial, but they're going to she'll be under investigation. All right.
The benefits of rotating judges include promoting fairness and objectivity in the judiciary, as it reduces the risk of entrenched biases or conflicts of interest. The purpose of this practice is to prevent any one judge from developing undue familiarity toward a particular set of individuals. However, this judge decided to ignore the schedule and stay on the Reed case, even though she was to rotate off in July of 2023. The factors that led to this decision are a mystery, since no explanation was ever given. And as Alan Jackson just stated, it did appear to the public at the time that she extended her stay in order to rule on the Commonwealth's motion to gag the defense team. In fairness, she did ultimately deny that order. But would she have if the defense hadn't called her out?
Number three, the court outright denied Ms. Reed a full and fair opportunity to be heard, if the court recalls, the last time we were here on a critical Rule 17 motion.
Regardless of whether or not defense counsel and the Commonwealth agreed to an evidentiary hearing, there's no authority for it. I am not having an evidentiary hearing in this case.
Of course there's authority.
No. I am not having an evidentiary hearing.
I mean, Gemma Cabe is the most important witness to this case. She was subpoenaed by the defense, and they're going to grill her. She would take the stand, and she would get ripped apart, probably get herself charged with murder herself. He can't let that happen, so he's filing this motion to quash. He wants to prevent that from happening. And they filed these motions 2 days before the hearing. Gemma Cabe was subpoenaed 2 weeks ago. She waited until now, when Alan Jackson and Elizabeth Little are in the air, flying in at Karen Reed's expense. And I guess he didn't think that they might bring these guys in. And so you're the one that said we could do this.
So there will not be an evidentiary hearing on Rule 17 motion. I will hear you, even though the Commonwealth says that this is a regurgitation of the first motion.
May 3rd, all parties agreed to an evidentiary hearing and scheduled it for May 25th. The defense orders witnesses to testify, including Jennifer McCabe, Brian Albert, Troopers Proctor, and Guareno. The Commonwealth realizes exactly how treacherous it would be to have these 4 unprepared witnesses testify at such an early stage of the cover-up. On May 23rd, 2 days before the evidentiary hearing, the Commonwealth files motions to prevent it all from happening. An emergency hearing is scheduled for the next day, May 24th. This brings us to the present situation. Judge Canon has just informed the defense team that despite prior agreement, the evidentiary hearing will not take place. What makes this especially suspicious is the judge's decision to cancel a scheduled hearing so close to the date and allowing the Commonwealth to make such disruptive last-minute moves. Adding to the concern is her absolute refusal to discuss the matter with the defense. She is adamant that no evidentiary hearing will take place. For a judge who typically takes everything under advisement, she made a series of unusually swift decisions that likely spared the Commonwealth from disastrous consequences.
I will hear you on the Rule 17 motion now. So, Mr. Jackson, I'll hear you on your Rule 17 motion.
What's
Your
unusual?
Honor, with regard to Rule 17,
What was that? Did you say something, Mac?
I was to say, what's unusual is in most cases, there's a scheduling order in place, right, for trial.
Mhm.
It says
Yep.
by this time you're supposed to have these motions in, by this time you're supposed to have your
Mhm.
witness list in, by this time your discovery is supposed to be completed or whatever. And most judges, they want to stick with this, right? Because they have had the trials and they need things to happen by a certain time. And if you are bringing it too close, it's why not? Why did you bring this now? Why didn't you
Mhm.
bring it? And as long as there's no prejudice to the other side, a lot of times they'll let the motion go through.
Mhm.
But in something like this, where all parties had agreed to this hearing ahead of time, and then they decide at the last minute, nope, we don't agree.
Yeah. Once they've seen the witness list.
Right. It's very curious to me.
Well, I mean, those 3 witnesses that were listed, like he said, I mean, who knows if it was, they didn't have their story straight yet, or it was just, too soon for them to figure it all out. But that's probably what it was. They hadn't made sure that there was no way to trip them up, and I mean, they were tripped up eventually anyway, but I mean, kind of tripped up. I mean, it's just pretty obvious. I'll play some more of this. Is it cool to keep watching this one?
Yeah. I'd like
And
to
then-
hear what happens with the recusal motion.
Very clearly.
Isn't Alan Jackson just a beast, huh? He's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
This is not, as the court just indicated, a regurgitation of anything. It's a brand new motion.
Watch closely here as Alan Jackson is uncharacteristically speechless, stunned by what he's just heard this judge say in open court. Remember, Jackson himself has decades of experience as a prosecutor. Judge Canoni is kind enough to hear him argue his motion, despite the Commonwealth's claim that it's simply a regurgitation of one that came previously. If anyone can sense the rot of corruption, it's Alan Jackson. I can only imagine what he's thinking in this moment. Regardless, he's not ready to let this go just yet.
I understand and respect the court's ruling. I am confused, and I must say I don't quite understand the court's ruling, given the fact that the Commonwealth has taken such a vigorous position in their affidavit on the facts that are referred in our Rule 17 motion. It seems to me that would be the perfect opportunity, even if it's limited to the experts on the issue of the Google search.
Okay, so I understand, Mr. Jackson, that you wanted an evidentiary hearing. There will not be one.
She absolutely will not allow it to happen under any circumstances. It feels like she did someone a very big favor.
Our question would be, what is the Commonwealth so desperately afraid of?
It's not unusual for record holders to oppose motions for their data. They have their right to privacy. However, the Commonwealth has also joined in opposing those motions. What possible interest could the state of Massachusetts have in keeping Brian, Albert, and Jen McCabe's phone records private? They are witnesses in a murder trial. So why do they care? The state's role should be to seek truth and justice. Withholding records in no way advances that goal. Jackson is skillfully taking this opportunity to question their motives.
My question would be on the judge's ruling.
What was that, Mac?
My question, and you don't know what was also said in here, but I want to know the basis for the judge's ruling. She said very briefly, there's no law for that. And you heard someone, I'm presuming it was Alan Jackson, said, yes, there is.
Mm-hmm.
In his little follow-up where he say, like, I'm confused, I would have said something like, so Your Honor, making sure that I am crystal clear on this, you are ruling against this evidentiary hearing because you believe that there is no legal right to have this, or there's no law that backs up or whatever. Even though I can present you with law at this time, you are not willing to hear me out on the law that does support this. Is that correct? Right. And,
Right.
you know, you can do that very respectfully, but also questioning the judge and, you know, what's
Yeah.
going to be, you know, because
And we had agreed upon it 30 days prior
right, just, you know,
because it was legal.
because
know.
you do never know within this whole circumstance as to what you might appeal and what you might go on, and having that too when they appeal this to the circuit court
right.
judge, that gives them more of a basis to say, hey, listen, you know, she denied it for this reason. We were trying to present her with the law. She said there wasn't. We're trying to present her with the law. So her denial of this, it was just outright wrong.
Right, without reason. And therefore, I mean, I would, you know, as a lawyer, he's confused and he's like, no, he wants to win this case. But I know he's thinking in the back of his mind, well, bam, I just got us a new trial and appeal. Or, you know, I just got her out of prison while she waits for her next trial, whatever, you know, that's what I would be thinking. I mean, I know that's lawyers are always thinking like, okay, that's an appeal. That's an appeal. That's an appeal. But yeah, I don't think she's
the documents, the data, and the physical phone that we've sought, respectively, under the Rule 17 motion for Brian Albert's phone and the data associated therewith, for Jennifer McCabe's cell phone data as it pertains to the cell records.
Which Brian's phone was destroyed after this.
Oh,
well,
it was after.
He upgraded it, yeah, because yep, it was after.
It was after.
Mm-hmm.
What are they afraid of? They seem to be desperately fearful that we're actually going to get to the truth of what actually happened.
Now, let's jump back to the motion to recuse.
And that brings me to the final point and dovetails into that final point. Sean McCabe, a member of the McCabe family and a brother-in-law of Jennifer McCabe, whom we have argued in this court, should have at least been a suspect.
You're going to show that this way, Ms. Little. Why don't you show it to me? Thank you.
By the way, Judge Beverly Canoni does not like when the defense shows chalks. We'll jump ahead briefly to view another example.
For those to have any evidentiary value, you have to trust the person who had custody of John O'Keefe's clothing before it was sent to the lab.
So, Ms. Little, I'm not looking at any. If you show them to the audience before you show them to me, I'm not going to look at them. Okay, please put that down. Mr. Yannetti, do you have chalks for your bail argument? Please put that down. Do you have chalks for your bail argument?
I have one chalk that I was intending to show the court. At the
So
appropriate time.
I don't need to see a chalk, Mr. Yannetti.
And now back to the motion to recuse.
Sean McCabe made a claim to a reporter in public, claiming to have a personal relationship with this court. And he tried to prove it by citing to the fact that Sean McCabe knows personal information about the judge, which is extremely troubling, about a beach home, not just the fact that the court may own one, but exactly where it is. His words were, after receiving Sean McCabe's words were, after receiving a question from the reporter, do you really have a line to Judge Canoni? His answer was, Auntie Bev, and I mean no disrespect, I'm quoting, Auntie Bev, whose seaside cottage do you think we're going to bury your corpse under?
Where he says, I just called in an order asking Judge Bev to institute a trial by combat order against you. It is weird that this guy is just throwing around her name like that days after a hearing that was very favorable to his sister-in-law, that prevented her from taking the stand and answering why she Googled this at 2:27 a.m. She never had to do that. And that's odd that this guy is all of a sudden acting like she's on Team McCabe. That's interesting. And I go, do you really have a line to her? And he goes, Auntie Bev, whose seaside cottage do you think we're going to bury your corpse under? And indeed, she does have a house in Centerville, in part of Barnstable. So that's interesting. How does he know that?
Extremely troublesome dialogue, but it's not just the threat that's inherent in the dialogue. That's on one level. It's the fact that this person claimed to know that this court may own a beachside cottage somewhere. Your Honor, I will say I've appeared before hundreds. At this point, I'm getting old. I may have appeared before thousands of judges in my nearly 30-year career. I've never, ever known where a single one of them has ever lived or property they may or may not have owned. But Sean McCabe appears to know, and he appears to intimate that he knows the details of this court's personal life. And it was his family that benefited by the cancellation of the evidentiary hearing, and it was his family that benefited from the court's quashal of our subpoenas. That claim by a McCabe family member of a personal connection to this court has been the fodder, Your Honor, of myriad public comments and questions about this court's ability to maintain fairness over this particular proceeding. And if that weren't enough, the defense has just recently received information that another witness, a seminal witness for the prosecution, by the name of Julie Nagel, who was in Julie Nagel, Nagel.
Nagel.
Who was inside the house at 34 Fairview on the night of John O'Keefe's death.
Something out of the ordinary, like a black blob in the ground by the flagpole.
Liar.
Apparently some 5 months after John's murder, and this is all public. We didn't have to do any digging and searching with subpoenas or otherwise. This was all public information. She used a Venmo app to pay for what appears to be a beach house rental, and the recipient on the Venmo payment reads Frank and Beverly. And that's a public payment. It was there for all the world to see. And as soon as a reporter picked up on that, which is how we found out about it, and publicized that, she immediately took that payment down and took it off the internet. Your Honor, there has been an undeniable erosion of public confidence in this court's ability to be fair. But let me be very, very clear.
On the rotation.
The decision to recuse or disqualify a court due to the appearance of impartiality is not an indictment of this court's competence or integrity. It is not an indictment of this court's character. Nowhere close, and we do not aver that at all. Rather, the decision should be an expression of the unwavering commitment that this court has to justice, to fairness, to the rule of law.
I personally do not, nor have I ever had any questions, even a moment of pause in regard to this court's ability to be fair and impartial on this or any other case.
You wouldn't expect the person directly benefiting from unfairness to take issue with it being perpetuated inside this courtroom. Let's see what other valuable insights the Assistant District Attorney has to offer.
Whether the court, Your Honor, chooses to retain jurisdiction of this case, or it passes to another judge to retain jurisdiction of this case, or it passes from judge to judge as the judges rotate in and out of the session, really is of no consequence to the Commonwealth.
If it really is of no consequence to the Commonwealth, then why is Lally about to fervently argue against the defense's motion? He could have rested and said nothing at all. This is because he knows what's obvious to everyone paying attention, and that is the judge had been extremely favorable to the Commonwealth up until this point, and would continue to rule progressively more in their favor all the way through the first trial to this present day.
But what I would say is that, again, that operative term being reasonable, and the three sort of key things the council seems to want to hang their hat on, is essentially first being some conversation between two individuals who have literally nothing to do with this case, who talk about this case in an online discussion. And there's a great many things that are said in that online discussion, but we seem to be focusing on just this one thing and accepting this is true because this is what this person said. Whereas there are a great number of other sort of defamatory things that are said by this person, Mr. McCabe, in reference to this blogger. And we're not jumping to the conclusion that any of those things are true. I don't know whether they are or they aren't, but I'm just saying that we're focusing on this one particular thing.
Let's be clear. The credibility of Sean McCabe's insults against the reporter are immaterial to whether or not there's an appearance of impartiality in this case. Once again, ADA Lally attempts to bring the focus back onto Turtle Boy.
From that attachment the council filed as far as that conversation, which is appeared to be a true and accurate copy of that conversation, but it's not appeared to be a complete transaction of that conversation.
Lally complains that the messages sent between Sean McCabe and Turtle Boy are not the complete record of the entire conversation. This coming from the same prosecutor who presented this screenshot allegedly showing Colin Albert's message to Ali McCabe requesting she pick him up from 34 Fairview Road, widely believed to be counterfeit, if not incomplete. And then there's this utter abortion of
Whoa, I didn't
justice.
know that.
But we'll save that for another time.
Did you understand what that last text just showed? And I just to ask, I know you would understand if you had the information that I'm thinking of. Not that you couldn't understand it. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? It was a text to one of the witnesses, and the witness texted back. This is before her testimony, like, okay, so now I was driving people home now. You know what I mean? Trying to get the story straight. Like, okay, so now that's what I'm supposed to say, that I was driving people home. That's insane.
Well, you know, what's interesting to me in this, the prosecution keeps going back to, you know, we don't have any question the judge can be fair and impartial, you know, that, you know, you've been great basically and everything. That's not the question. The question is there an appearance of impropriety here? You know, and so he's trying to argue a little bit about that, saying, well, okay, you know, the text messages aren't complete. You're not giving that. Just to me gives even more grounds for we need to have an evidentiary hearing. We need to expand upon, you know, we needed to get this information, you know,
yeah,
out.
And if there really wasn't any, she would be all for that. Yeah, I want to prove to everyone that like I'm good, you know, like so there is no appearance. But
and the defense is right. No, I mean, just saying, the defense is right that, you know, and I've seen judges do that. Say, listen, I've done nothing wrong. I know you guys aren't accusing me of doing anything wrong, but just by the way things kind of line up, I can see why there might be an appearance of impropriety, why some people might put this and that together. They might put 2 and 2 together and make 5. It doesn't line up, but I'll recuse myself because of that. You know, This is still in between trial. So it's still plenty of time for a different judge to get up to speed with what's going on. You know, to me, they're just based on the limited knowledge I have at this point in time, there really wasn't a reason for her not to recuse herself.
Yeah. And like what was said, that she was on the rotation to, you know, rotate out of this.
Right.
Whatever that, you know, her, you know, maybe she had to go to do family court, you know, for a year or whatever they wrote to, or misdemeanors or something. I don't know.
Right.
All right. I'm going to play again.
What's attached, direct the court's attention to page 6, in which Mr. McCabe intimates in there that he doesn't really know anything about the case.
Lally continues to miss the point. If the McCabe family did indeed have an inappropriate relationship with the judge, how would Sean McCabe's level of knowledge of the case make a difference? It's completely irrelevant.
Okay.
Additionally, I would direct the court's attention to page 9. Well, I think it's pretty clear from there that the recipient of these communications, this blogger, doesn't even believe Mr. McCabe himself in his vehementness that he knows the court or is familiar with the court or has any influence over the court.
Whether Turtleboy himself personally believes Sean McCabe's statements or not does not affect the greater public's perception of impartiality.
And lastly, from that attachment, I direct the court's attention to page 11, in which it references earlier posts by this blogger about the judge. And that's, again,
Lally uses this opportunity to inform the judge that she herself has been the subject of Turtleboy's reporting, in case she wasn't aware.
I think we're looking at this divorce from the context in which this communication arises. This is not something that Mr. McCabe just generates out of his own head, as far as, along with a litany of other assertions that he makes in reference to this blogger. But it comes from prior posts and prior communications that were expressed by this blogger of already intimating impartiality by the court, just in reference to adverse rulings, which brings me to my second sort of underpinning of this motion, being that the court has, I guess, adversely ruled or denied motions that were filed by the defendant. I don't really see that as being any sort of valid basis for judges to recuse themselves. Otherwise, every time a judge denies a motion, then we're going to have to find a different judge because they don't agree with you. And in particular, they're pointing to a motion which had absolutely no basis in the rules of criminal procedure whatsoever as far as having an evidentiary hearing on Rule 17 motion. And the third thing, as far as deviation from procedure of the Norfolk Superior Court, there are a number of cases that different judges might hold on to for a period of time. They might assign themselves to or be assigned to retain jurisdiction. And the court, hearing this motion or any other motions in this case going forward, regardless of whatever session Your Honor is assigned to, is really of no consequence, and it's really not anything that's out of the ordinary, as evidenced by the case that was called prior to this case, which is a trial that was conducted before Your Honor last November of a co-defendant. There's a scheduled trial date coming up in this November of a co-defendant from that prior trial. It's not an abnormal thing for this court or any court to do. For those reasons, again, I would pray upon the court as far as the decision is concerned, but as far as the Commonwealth is concerned, there's no request for the court to recuse themselves, and whatever judge hears the case is whatever judge hears the case. Thank you.
Do you want to respond, Mr. Jackson?
Very, very briefly. The only thing I would draw both the Commonwealth and the court's attention to is the person that made the statement, Sean McCabe, is related to Jennifer McCabe. He's a brother. He also didn't just throw sort of a dart at an empty dartboard. He hit the target because he made a claim that he had a personal relationship with this court, or at least his family had a personal relationship with this court. And that turned out to be at least some of the facts that he made, or that he claimed in the post, turned out to be true. And we attached that. I'm going to be delicate about my comments here because it's sealed, and it should be sealed. That portion should be sealed or impounded. But it turns out that it's true, and the courts had access to, had an opportunity to see that. Also, with regard to the second post, it's also true in terms of the family members' names. It's not like they're just
True what?
The family members' names. Okay. This court's family members' names, which I don't need to repeat here. But there is some fact-based information that troubled us because it turns out to be somewhat true. Now, the last thing that I'll say is that the Commonwealth's...
So yeah, they did file probably an evidence package or whatever that had all the information, like, we know that you own this house at this address. It's a seaside address. And that's why he was saying it and that's sealed, so no one can see that. So yeah, they did their homework on that, that's for sure.
Position was, it may not be true. There's a bunch of invectives in that string of communications between the investigative reporter and Sean McCabe, and half that stuff may be true.
Jackson is about to advance the most important point of the entire hearing.
And Mr. Lally words were, I don't know if they're true. And that's the point. He doesn't know if they're true. I don't know if they're true. I hope they're not true. I desperately hope that what Sean McCabe said is not true, but it doesn't matter what I think. It only matters what the public perceives might be the case. And the word might is in the rule. It doesn't have to be the case. But a reasonable person looking at this from the outside looking in, if they're disinterested, might they think that the court has some relationship that would compromise the court's ability to be fair. That's enough, and at that point, it triggers this court's requirement to disqualify itself. That's all. We're not suggesting the court is not fair, nor impartial. Nor partial. We're suggesting the public may perceive it that way, and they reasonably have perceived it that way. And I'll see that.
Okay.
You hit the nail on the head right there at the end.
I'm going to take a 15, 20-minute break to consider what I've heard here today. Obviously, I've read everything in advance, but let's get here. All right.
While Judge Canoni is taking 15 minutes to deliberate on the recusal, let us take a moment to assess whether there was substantive evidence indicating that the public perception of this case was genuinely declining. This was happening right outside on the steps.
What's happening on the steps?
You are unmuted.
So I appreciate the arguments of counsel. I've considered those arguments. I've considered the pleadings, the motion, the attached affidavits, the big pack of attachments to the motions. I've considered those placards that were shown here today. A couple of them I hadn't seen before. So the defendant raises 4 discussion points in their motion. There's some claim delay in my rendering decisions. There's dissatisfaction with adverse rulings and alleged impropriety of retaining jurisdiction. But notably,
She's out of breath.
there's some allegation
nervous.
that I have some
Her hands are
relationship
shaking. Look at her glasses.
with
Yeah.
a man
They stick
named
above. Her
Sean
hands are
McCabe,
shaking.
and that therefore I have a connection to this case, and therefore I have a bias in favor of the Commonwealth.
Straw manning refers to a type of argumentative tactic where someone misrepresents or oversimplifies their opponent's position to make it easier to refute. Alan Jackson went to great lengths to make it clear that his concern was the perception of partiality by a disinterested public. But it's much easier for Judge Canoni to pretend she's been accused of being biased herself and then deny it.
Yep,
That
exactly.
simply is not the truth. I can assure all parties that I don't know Sean McCabe. As far as I know, I have never spoken to him or had any contact with him.
She said she doesn't know them. No.
I've never interacted with him, and I certainly never have socialized with him or with any family members or any witnesses whose names have been said here.
That may be true, but what about Michael Morrissey? Besides Karen Reed, he may have the most riding on the outcome of this case. Him and this judge are around the same age. Both grew up in Quincy and have both been working within the Massachusetts legal system for decades. We know that the judge's mother was employed by Morrissey's wife for years back in the 1990s. How well they know each other and when they last communicated remains as lingering questions, yet to be answered. But how could that possibly work? Well, he would need a judge in his corner, someone willing to stay on the case instead of rotating off. A judge who wouldn't raise an eyebrow when tampered evidence
Talking about
appeared on the screen.
the prosecutor, you know, like the main DA that all those little guys are under.
And question which trooper was assigned to manage the jury, or ask how the 3 most pro-Karen jurors were suddenly eliminated at the last minute. Not in on the cover-up, just willing to look the other way. What is your perception of this court? Please let us know in the comments.
So I just have a real quick, that was perfect. That was a perfect segue.
It was great because we were just talking about that before, you know, about the motion to recuse. And unless it's different or my memory is faulty, I believe that the Chief Justice, you know, his ruling on this would be whether or not the judge abused her discretion in not recusing herself. And it's interesting because he can't say on the aspect of impartiality because she didn't rule on that. So he's got, you know, he or she would have to look at that, you know, as a first case. But whoever the commenter was exactly right. It was much easier for her to address it if, you know, if in fact she was trying to get around it. She doesn't have to say, well, I can see from the outside looking in, this doesn't look real great, right?
Yeah. And yep. Yeah, he was spot on with that. Okay. This is just 2 minutes, I promise. And this segues right into what we were talking about earlier. This was the original video I was looking for, and it's only 2 minutes. This shows the connection, what he was just talking about there at the end. He must have made this video like right afterwards. Yep. I'm almost done. I mean,
the funny thing about conflicts of interest is how they often lurk in the shadows, quietly undermining the integrity of decisions and actions. They can be insidious, weaving their way into the fabric of organizations and institutions, influencing outcomes in ways that are not always immediately visible. When concealed, conflicts of interest erode trust and transparency, fostering an environment where unethical behavior can thrive unchecked. This hidden manipulation skews fairness and accountability, often to the detriment of those who are unaware of the underlying biases. It is crucial to recognize and address these conflicts, shining a light on them to ensure that justice, fairness, and integrity prevail.
I'm almost done.
This is Joanne Morrissey, wife of the Norfolk DA who's charging Karen Reed and is also under federal investigation for public corruption. In 2016, she retired from her role as cafeteria manager at Quincy Public High School after being there since 1994. Back row, far left, is a woman named Trudy Prescott. This lovely woman worked as part of the cafeteria staff for 23 years into the 1990s and reported directly to Joanne Morrissey. I want to make it clear, neither Joanne nor Trudy have done anything wrong. By all accounts, they both did exceptional work for the Quincy school system. But here's the issue. If Trudy looks familiar to you, there's very good reason. Trudy Prescott is the mother of Judge Beverly Canoni. This is a direct familial link from Judge Canoni to Norfolk DA Michael W. Morrissey.
Smallish town. Mom, to me, that's kind of neither here nor there. I mean, it's an interesting fact, but
I bet you they were really close. Because it's a small town. I mean, I don't know. That was a pretty big cafeteria staff. So I mean, maybe it's a big ass town. Well, I mean, no, it's a pretty small town outside of Boston.
it's interesting. A lot of people who are in Boston or around the area who are in the chat are on the side that the judge has definitely been biased. So it's interesting. They're saying public opinion around here is that. So it's been interesting to kind of see where the locals stand on this.
Yep, pretty crazy.
My goodness. Well, thank you very much for bringing me on with this.
No, thanks for coming on with me today. I would have been just here all by my lonesome.
Well, we've talked about some other cases.
Yeah. No, I would love to do court cases with you. Did you stream this on Law Ninja? I should have told you that before. Or you were running late.
Yeah, I did. I didn't have any notifications or anything like that. So I think, one person popped over or whatever, but just to, I actually just wanted to see if the link would work because I had trouble with StreamYard getting it to connect to Law Ninja before. So I thought that I had gotten it square and it did work. So at least I know that it works from that aspect. So now that I can actually put up a thumbnail on the channel and I know that it'll work, but I know we've talked about doing the Alexander Brothers case and
I have all that stuff ready to go, man. All that. And then the, you're talking about Alon and
yeah.
Yeah.
And have you followed? I just was listening to a case today about Frank. Is it Stronham or Stroham or whatever? He's a Canadian auto parts, huge auto parts guy or whatever, and he's up on 18 counts of sex assault of various types, dating as far back as 1980.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. They really, which I don't know enough about Canadian law that as to how there, isn't a statute of limitations on some of these things, but it started out with 3, then 5, then 13, and last count it was up to 18. And so I don't know if that last update that I heard was 6 months ago. So I don't know if they've started his trial yet or when that's supposed to start, but that's he's a real big deal. Yeah, he's a real big deal in Canada in terms of a big name.
Yeah. Let's cover it.
So I just need to look up as to when his trial starts.
Yeah, I'll look it up. What do you remember his name? I do think someone emailed me that. Hey, are you going to follow this case?
It's Frank, and it's like Strohan, I think, like Strohan, something like that.
It should be easy to find.
Auto Parts Canada, sexual assault.
Yeah, Frank Auto Parts should get it.
Frank's Auto Parts.
Frank's Auto Parts. Hey, don't go to Frank. Leave your kids at home. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, as now that things are kind of like evening out a little bit and don't seem so hectic. Things have seemed hectic for a little bit. I feel pretty evened out now. Not too many worries, for now. I say that about every 4 days.
Exactly.
Yeah, tomorrow I'll just be a hot mess.
Whenever we get stuck in our head, everything just seems so much larger.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In terms of, trying to get a handle on it. It's
and I look at the things that changed that just preceding those events, and it's always the same thing. I'm unbalanced. I'm not speaking to my sponsor every day like normal. And that's on him. He's got some life stuff going on too. And just all those things. And I haven't been reading my Bible as often, it used to be every day. Now it's, twice a week if I get around to it. And it's not even getting around to it, but if I make that time, it's just seemed busy. Lately I do take Hazley to school every morning. And it's been better lately. It's not a struggle to get her ready. When she was younger, it was a struggle. But
well, she's probably only got a couple weeks left. And then she'll be on
how
summer
much
break.
you got left when you have school? No, how many weeks do you have left till summer? 4?
I don't know.
You just told me on Friday or Thursday.
4.
It's like 3. Oh, okay. 3 weeks. Yeah, maybe I'm tripping on 4.
Wow. So she doesn't. Oh, because next week. Yeah, I was thinking middle of June, but it just dawned on me. Yeah, there's one more week in May still to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, next week. So yeah, 3 more weeks.
Yeah.
Which just brings up a whole nother can of worms. But it's different. You won't have to get her to school.
Oh man, yeah, that's. Yeah, yeah. I can't talk about it with her present.
Yeah, cross that bridge when we come to it.
It's going to be a bridge.
No problem. But you know that you've always got me in your back pocket as well. You can't talk to your sponsor. You've got other people, not only myself, others
thank you so much.
Can, give a buzz. And
I
of course, I'm up earlier than you are. So
yeah, I always forget that. And but then when I see you like in Tommy Stiggs' chat, I'm like, oh yeah, of course she's up.
Yeah.
Because
the day.
It's like 5:30 for me. I'm like, why are these people awake? I shouldn't even be awake right now. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That's 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Oh, the cats have me up by 6 every day.
Whether
whether I want them to or not. They're just I saw a wonderful sign once that there is no snooze button on the cat, and that's so true.
Yeah.
I want to be fed. Just start smacking my head.
Yeah.
Right, I'm up. Oh, yeah.
What did Woofy says, Sam, stop moving me.
You were adjusting the camera.
Oh, okay. Hey, stop. Go run it.
I don't know how to.
Okay. But I was gonna talk to the chat a little bit. It won't be that long, honey. I promise.
Wait, can I talk to this guy?
Can you talk to the chat?
Yeah, really quick. I want to say something.
You want to say something? Okay.
Shannon Trim says my cats are good at getting me up. My dogs wake me up. Sherry says my dogs wake me up at 5 a.m. Animals, I swear. I mean, their internal clocks they're set. They're set. I am gonna have to scoot though, because my cats are not gonna stop bothering me until I feed them a little bit more dinner. So I am gonna scoot. But Hazley, it was so nice to see you again. You have a good one. I'm so excited for you that you're going to be finishing what grade?
kindergarten.
You're going to be in first grade
Kindergarten.
next year?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. That is
She's
so cool.
I went through like 2 years, or maybe 3 years of preschool.
Mhm.
Wow.
That's why she's ahead of her class and everything. Like we sent her to a really cool preschool.
Nice.
But she's
It's
like
older, and it goes
she
up to like
she
5th
can read
grade.
now. Like she reads so many words and she can
Can
write and
too.
math.
That's
With
great.
Like
have
way more than like they told us like she's ahead of everyone. So
Just
that's
keep her
really cool.
interest
go
going.
to
Yeah,
like
keep her
5th
interest
grade,
going in
and
school.
with
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's like a lot of classes there. There's like PE, music, library, and you could go up to 5th grade there. And in 5th grade, you also get to learn how to use the violin and music.
Nice.
Yep, that is when I got into band too, was 5th grade. I played the
Fourth-
baritone.
4th grade is recorder year here.
Oh, really?
My hair's curled.
In Michigan.
It's down so long.
Yeah.
Everybody knows when it's recorder time.
I remember recorder, yeah. Playing Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Hot cross buns.
Yeah,
I'm
hot
gonna
cross
give
buns.
Burm my name in the comments.
Because no, you're gonna fall. You're gonna fall.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
alrighty.
hugs and love to you guys. Have a
Bye.
great night.
Mwah.
Bye. I will talk to you later on, and Sam, we'll get together and we'll figure out what our next subject will be.
Okay, cool. Thank you
Alrighty.
so much.
Sounds great.
All right.
Bye, chat.
Bye, guys. Oh wait, no, I'm not leaving quite yet.
Just so you know, make sure to like so we could get a play button.
Yeah, that's right. She goes, make sure to like so we can get a play button and subscribe.
Yes, we don't have any play buttons.
All her favorite YouTubers have play buttons. So we need another 98,000 subscribers.
We already have like enough to get a diamond one almost.
A diamond one?
Almost.
You're crazy.
I think.
You're crazy.
Oh, am I right?
You are wrong.
What's the first diamond play button you get?
It's like I don't even know. It's like 1 million subscribers or something.
If you guys know, the very first
Well, there's a lot of people in here I haven't seen in a long time.
button, the very first play button that you get, if you know,
Silver.
then
It's the silver one.
yay! Wait, I want to get the diamond. When do you get the diamond?
It's 1 million. You gotta have to 1 million.
We already do have 1 million.
No, we don't.
We almost
We have 1 million headaches. We have 1 million headaches.
We have 1 million of you.
Oh.
Yeah, we have 1 million to my fist in my dad's face. If you guys comment down my name, then thank you. Because I was looking for that.
See, look, there's your name.
Hello, Hazel.
That's Shell. Say hi, Shell.
Hi, Shell. Stop.
She is adorable.
Her.
She's a terrorist also. Her ambition. She said,
Love
see, she was
her.
reading that. Love her ambition. Where does that say?
So,
Good job.
Cutty.
Cutty. Close. It's cute. But man, I love that she's reading.
Hey.
Oh, there goes your dad. He's going to start crying now.
Yeah, I know how to make him cry. Boo, 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 boo.
Hey Sherry, how's it going? Hey Sherry, I'm so sorry I missed you yesterday in the chat when I went back to read the live chat. I seen you were in there and you had asked a question and I was like, damn, I missed it. So I am so sorry.
What's that one saying?
Awakened?
Thank you, Awakened.
She said thank you for the flowers. Okay, ready to take a bath?
No, I want to look at the comments for a little bit.
You don't want to look at the comments?
Yeah.
Well, then we're going to go all the way back up to the top.
Okay, yay.
No, they'll kill me if I do that. They'll kill me if I do that.
Like if you want me to stay and not take a bath, but subscribe if you don't.
She said, like if you want, hit the like button if you want her to stay and not take a bath.
And
Let's see.
subscribe if you don't want me to.
I'd rather them like if they want you to take a bath. Hold on, here's one. Woofy. That's Woofy.
Woofy. Okay, thanks, Woofy.
She's like, you have to take a bath. That's what she said. It was your idea to take a bath.
I don't have to take a bath.
It was your idea to take a bath.
Okay, I guess I did clean that whole entire thing, and I took like an hour and 22 minutes.
Yeah, 22 minutes.
I said hour and 22 minutes. You do not understand me.
Okay, guys. I don't know if you guys had comments or questions earlier. I apologize. If there's anything you want to say now or ask now about anything we watched, it might not be like the best time. I mean, we could. Thanks, Eileen. Hey, Grateful. Good to see you. Oh my gosh. Hello, Hazley and Dad. There was a lot. Love you too, Sherry. There was a lot of content. If we went all the way up there, I bet you'd see her name a million times.
Yep.
1 kajillion. See all those? Look. Look, bam, Hazley. Bam, Hazley. Look, bam, Hazley. Hazley. I mean, that one's spelled just a little off. Hey.
If you guys want to know how to spell my name, it's H-A-I-Z-L-E-E.
You went like this. L. You went like this. H-A-I-L. You went L-E-E. Stop. She's taking martial arts, so she thinks she's tough. Okay. She can throw punches though really good. She goes boom, boom. She goes boom, 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 boom. Be careful.
In life, you hurt yourself a little bit. Just trust me.
In life?
Yes.
She said in life you hurt yourself a little bit. That's good, right? That's good.
My hair is curly from how much I've laid down. Like,
Well, no, it was curly yesterday from your braids, remember?
No, I took out my braids.
Mm.
And then it was kind of curly. And then
Yeah.
last night it wasn't.
Mhm.
And then now.
She said you must like Gene Simmons. Do you know who Gene Simmons is?
No.
Remember that song I used to always play? Detroit, Rock City, get up. Everybody's got to leave their seats. Get down, everybody's.
No.
It's getting late and I just can't wait. Remember that song? Doom, doom.
No.
Doom, doom, doom.
No, Dad, I don't.
Well, I used to play it all the time when you were like 1, 2.
I don't even know these people's names.
There's a lot of people. Yeah, we've talked about it. I was gonna do a channel with her, but then I was like overwhelmed with like just my 2 little channels. And we like
I was gonna start a YouTube channel until he little dummy said that I couldn't. Mom haven't done her live.
people won't think you're so cute if you call your dad dummy.
I don't care.
I know.
Just so you know, if I call my dad any like mean name or I punch him in the face like that, I'm just playing around.
Can't backtrack now, fool. Can't throw it in reverse now, fool. You got to stand on what you did. You're going to jail.
No, I'm not. I'm too young.
I'm too young. Yeah, we were going to start a channel called Hazley's Fun Club. Possibly it was going to be called Fun Club. We did a logo, but I think she was just a little too young still.
There's kids even younger than me, starting a YouTube channel.
I know, but they listen better than you do.
You shut your mouth up.
No. But okay, guys, we're gonna call it. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. I did and Mac. I just love Mac to death. I'm always calmer when I do a show with her. If you guys could probably see, like, I don't know what it is. She just calms me a little bit. And then this one. But yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for coming out. It was fun. I love watching that stuff. And I'd been putting it off and I wanted to do it. And Mac and I have been talking for a few months, really. I mean, for a couple months on doing legal stuff together since the first show we did. So that was a lot of fun.
Guys, I have a favor for you.
A favor?
Yeah.
Like what?
Can you guys see if it's possible to like the video 10 times? You can double click it. I think I did it earlier.
You can double click it?
Yeah, just like, and then it just likes.
Oh, that's so cute.
If you guys ever knew that, then like, do it.
Yeah, do it.
Just double click instead of going over and just tapping the like.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy.
That's right.
I wish you could like to yourself.
I've tried to like myself, but it knows my self-esteem is so low that it just doesn't let me do it.
That's probably why Mr. Beast is so famous.
Because he really likes himself, huh? Everyone said they can try.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something that reminded me of something. I can't remember what. Dang it.
We can try.
We can try. We can try if you want to. We can leave your friends behind. And if your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, well, that no friends of mine.
And I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Ow, ow, ow. Okay, stop. All right, guys. We love you. Thank you so much for coming out. I don't want to just keep saying thank you. And I seen everybody. Well, I don't want to start calling out people because then if I miss someone, I always feel bad. And then when I lose 2 subscribers that night, I'm like, damn it, I missed them. I know people went leave just because of that.
Thank you for commenting.
Yeah, huh? It's really nice that people take the time out to like comment and to say hi.
Yeah.
Right? You should tell them what you see right there.
Ow!
Are you okay? Where'd you hit it on? The computers? Good job not crying. What do you see right there?
God.
You see God right there. You know why? Because we ride with God. And the only reason why I don't show these, and I had these first way before Old Girl, but it's a baby Jesus. La 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 la. But my Jesus' arms are down. I know Nana of Tutu. Is Nana of 2 wearing a tutu? You don't have to get that close on it. You can see really good.
Come on, Dad. I want a nice cold bath. I'm sweating right now.
Okay, baby. All right, guys. We really do love you, huh?
Yes, hurry up. I'm sweating.
She's like, yes, hurry up. We love them already. All right. Bye, guys. You're really getting upset, huh? I know that sound. When she does that, it's usually the next thing that comes out of her mouth. Get out of my room.
No, it's usually, I'm hungry. Order me food.
All right, bye. Good night, guys.
Oh, wow. Well, this has been a journey. This has been a journey for us, like a journey through from legal troubles to mental health issues to my own struggles to your struggles, sharing your struggles with me. I appreciate you, and thank you for that. Yeah. Good night, good morning to the listeners of the After the Bar shows, from Morning Mayhem or the Random Night Talk show. Good night, good morning to the listeners listener of the afternoon shows. From the morning mayhem shows or the random nighttime shows. My people from recovery to legal trials, hoping unity is what we're speaking about. It's a long way to the promised land. All my people understand that this land is our land. One nation under God and ain't a thing changed. This ain't that and that ain't this, not the same thing. I'm about to bust a move, this a new groove. Kinda like a mission, not the Blues Brothers, but good night, good morning, make a listener of the after the bar show. From morning mayhem or the random nighttime show. Good night, good morning to the listener of the after the bar shows. From the morning mayhem show or the random nighttime show. I can feel it, it's a new day. We got a long way to go, don't lose faith. Don't let the mind games change you. What you see on TV is not always true. You could be anything you want to. I don't know about you, but I am not who I used to be. Not who I used to be, no. Good night, good morning, like the listener